Okay, I'm back for this 5-part series on Learn to Earn, what it was like when I got into the business of real estate. And I am on part 4, my first year. So the first episode, although it's in the playlist Learn to Earn, was why I got my real estate license, going through taking the course, what my first day of real estate was like. And then today I'm going to talk to you about my first year. And then the next one will be what it's like to work with kids. Like the hustle is a little different. All right. So here we go. If you have not joined the Agent Journey, you can join the Agent Journey membership, or you can take advantage of my courses that I offer. Sometimes they're free. Sometimes I sell courses. And just to remind you, I am the designated managing broker of Caremark Realty Group. And this time I might share my screen with you to kind of show you what it was like when I did my own marketing, although I still do some of my own marketing today, but you got to see some of this stuff because I've been playing in the sandbox for a while. So, all right. So let me tell you, I did look up some numbers, and even when I talked to some of you about what it was like when I first got my real estate license, right? My first 3 months. So I looked up the data. So my first listing was around July 5th. Went under contract the 15th of July, closed in 30 days. So that's really the 30 days, around 8/17. That property was listed at 165. I had another listing. So the first one was in Wheaton. The second one was in Carroll Stream at 130. This tells you price points were a little bit different, because I am sure that house today would be selling for like 250. And that townhouse may be around 200. And then my third deal. So this was, let me see. Let me go back. So yeah, the one on Carroll Stream went off market. Yeah, I'll just tell you. That one was listed July 24th. So think about it. I closed something on August 17th. I listed another house. So I listed my first house July 5th, like 4 days in. Then that one went under contract 7/15. I listed another property July 24th. The first one closed 8/17. And then this one closed, this one went under contract 8/22 and then closed. Where's my data? Oh, let me go back because the ML, oh, there it is. Closed. Oh, that's really weird. It says 8/24. So yeah, that's weird. We're just going to go with that. But anyway, so my first 2 deals, let's just say the commission one was around 3,900. The second one was around 4,950. My third deal was a for sale by owner. So my seller from Carroll Stream also bought again in Carroll Stream, and that deal was about 5,500. So it's not in the multiple listing service, but I'll never forget because I had to learn how to negotiate to get paid on a for sale by owner. Like there's nothing like as a new agent, as soon as you get into the business, crazy things can happen or everything could be easy, but you'll never know until you get into the business. So again, after the last video, I called all my friends, told them I was getting into the business, my family, everything, even my twin sister. And I probably shouldn't tell you that story, but her husband didn't believe I could sell real estate. And so his sister, who was also licensed, said, no, she's too new. So when we did list her property, I didn't list it. Another agent with the company I started with listed it, which was Baird and Warner. And I brought in the buyer and I got a referral fee. So there you go. And this is the data you don't see when you log into the MLS, because there are some of us that do commercial, some of us that work for sale by owners, if you could find one. And if you do, good luck working with them in this market, seller's market. So there you go. So for me, like the hustle was real. So when I first got into the business, I didn't have deep pockets. I couldn't keep calling mom and saying, I need some money. She was already moved. She was in DC or Maryland. That wasn't happening. So when I got into the business, for me, I walked my neighborhood. Like I literally went to uline.com and I bought doorknob bags. And then I probably killed a tree at Baird and Warner. Like I stuffed. So, and I'll show you what I did. It's not the best marketing. I probably should show you. I've upgraded since then. So this is me. I still have Microsoft Publisher. And I look at that photo. That was my lifestyle photo back in the day. I probably should make it bigger so you can see it. Like, really? Yeah, right. You're probably like, whoo, Carrie, heaven help us. So I literally, oh, my name is spelled wrong. So you can see I was married before. You can see my phone number, my, all my website. This is the subdivision I bought my first house in, or townhouse, Willow Creek. And so that was the front of the newsletter. There's the back. This was one of my listings. I talked about the listing, and then you could actually scan the QR code to follow Willow Creek on Facebook. Like seriously, that was me. And yeah, like I told you what to do. I don't even, let me see. This was what was happening, things to do in the summer. Like I kept this simple, and I knew I couldn't market other agents' listings. So I would say things like, we have 7 available townhomes for sale in our subdivision. Contact me for a printed or emailed list today. Like, ask me for a free market analysis. And look at that. I was pushing Twitter. Now it's actually Carrie J. Little or Carrie Jo Little. I think I own both, but Carrie J. Little has more followers. So that was one thing I did. The other thing I did was I lightweight killed a tree at the office. I created my own postcards. I just didn't have the money. And I knew if I bought the postcards, I could label them and buy the stamps when I could afford it. In hindsight, I probably could have just used their marketing services, because it probably would have been better. And I mean, I look at this data and I'm like, wow, it was so different. Like, and I might have stuffed this in envelopes. This might have been back front. I can't even remember what I was doing. I might have been posting this on social media, Twitter, because this was, let's see, 2015. I still wish I could open up that USB that stopped working. Another thing I did was I actually created flyers for rentals. So when it came to, I did a whole lot of home buyer seminars here. I got notes everywhere. So I walked my neighborhood. I mailed to the subdivision. I actually mailed to apartment complexes. I probably violated the rules. I was walking into apartment complexes. Don't do that because somebody owns it. And I did many home buyer seminars. But I learned, see, back then we couldn't say that the seller would give you closing cost credit. We had to talk about things like, I think it was like Partners in Charity, like the Nehemiah Project. But I knew that I could actually mail. Now I updated it since then just for all of you to see it, but I never changed the photo, and I updated it with my current company logo, but this really still works. And, maybe I should show you. Yeah, let's do that. Let me see. Let me go show you what it looks like today. But while I'm looking that up, I'll show you another marketing piece. Cause, and I am pretty sure, I'm not sure you can really do this, but, I used to go download the Bulls schedule and mail this to my sphere of influence every month. So the Bulls, the Hawks, the Cubs, the Sox, whether I'm a Cubs fan or a Sox fan, I need you to call me. So I'm not going to tell you that I might be a Cubs fan and my family might be Sox fans. There's a story. So yeah, I would send this out. Let me tell you, this was old school. We call them customer appreciation groups. When I was at Baird and Warner, there were 12 of us that got picked. And I say picked because anyone could have done the program. But what we did was, our managing broker at the time said, there's 12 of you. She would take us to breakfast like 4 months straight. And we would meet in Winfield, and then we would all pick a month and we'd come up with the marketing. And this was one of those pieces. And some of the agents were really creative. So we would buy inserts, like 3-ring binder inserts. We would slide them in and we would cut off the 3-ring holes. And then we would do calendars every year with the magnet. We would take the middle piece of the calendar out, cut it out into like 4s, and put it on the back of these sheet protectors, is what they were. And we'd mail them to our sphere of influence, like in January. And we would tell you things to do. We'd like give you an update on things to do for the holidays in the summer, the Bulls schedule. We do all of this. I probably should mail this again, and the Cubs schedule, because my clients would say, Carrie, when are you mailing out the schedule? And then they would take out their current, the one that they had that expired, and they put in the new info. But everyone has stainless steel, so it's kind of hard to do this. But my clients would love it. Like, this was me my first year. Now, so let me show you since then kind of what the marketing has improved to, because I'm now using Canva. So it looks a whole lot better now. And I'll tell you, this is when I had braces, and this is an older one. Let's see, when was this? This was 2019. I have many, on another screen, I have many marketing pieces, but I tell you, like our featured listings, and I still do this mailing. And let me tell you what I know. even if something changes. So in 2007, I remember I was the grandkid that had to take care of my grandma. So I had to take her to dialysis. I stopped marketing. And even though I stopped marketing, my clients in my neighborhood, Willow Creek, they kept some of my marketing. And someone called my old office even after I left and asked for me. And the agent said, well, Carrie's not here anymore. How can I help you? Didn't matter because they still Googled me and I listed the house. So everything works. Even if something shifts in your life where you can't, where something's crazy, you got to take care of grandma, you got to take care of your mom, you got to take care of someone. Yeah. Let me show you this one. This is one. So like when I tell you, you can do the mailings, and I would stuff these and then I would make Mark walk because Mark got his license in 2017. Like the sky's the limit. You can do this business. So again, my first year was, and I'll talk to you more about what it was like working with kids, but my first year was really about working in my own neighborhood. I did try to work with the people I went to high school with or where I grew up in Broadview. And then it was my sphere of influence. So I literally kept a database. I would almost show you my database, but database meaning Excel spreadsheet. I still have an Excel spreadsheet of everyone that I worked with and everyone on my list. And I use a CRM now. So the truth is you can do the business even if you don't have money. Stay out of, you don't need to go buy a new car. You don't need Louis Vuitton. You don't need Louboutin shoes, red bottoms. We think we need all of this, but you need to figure out your goals and what works for you. So when I say I killed a tree, I literally learned how to cut postcards in the office because I didn't have the money, but I knew I could go to Office Depot, Office Max, Staples, wherever, and Baird Warner had rules. And some of you need to look up the rules for your company. And I would buy yellow cardstock, the hard cardstock, and I would print it in the office, and I would cut, I'd get the postcard stamp and stick the label on, and it was in the mail. And that stuff worked, and direct mail still works. Now you could be a little more strategic today, but I didn't have the money to mail every single month, but I knew I needed a paycheck. So I walked my neighborhood every month. That's what I did. I stuffed the doorknob bags. Today we could use InfoSparks. With the data it's already done for us. I created a newsletter, and I think there were a few of us that paid for a newsletter or the articles. NAR gives us houselogic.com/members. So there's really no excuse on creating content. You just have to do it. And some of us have brokerages that create the email marketing. They give you the content. They give you all the stuff. So you can be successful. It's really how bad do you want it? And I needed a paycheck, and I didn't want to have to go back to work. I needed a paycheck. I knew I needed to make some money. And when I calculated my first 3 deals, it was about 14,400. Yeah, it was about 14,400. And let me just step back a second. So I said, I walk my neighborhood. No, number one, I worked my sphere of influence my first year, really. And you got to work the people you know. And if they don't want to work with you, ask them if you can refer them. Then I walked my neighborhood, 190 properties. The third thing I did was I mailed to apartment complexes because I was like, if I could buy, they could buy, especially to the apartment complex where I used to live in, a few of them. And then I had home buyer seminars. And you're pretty like, well, Carrie, I don't know what to say in a home buyer seminar. Get a loan officer, get an inspector, get an attorney, and you go last and sum it up. Use tools like Cloud CMA. And you can go down the list of, what it's like, introduce everyone. When we buy homes, there are steps, there's a step to the process. So I want you all talk. I'm going to have the loan officer talk first. And then you might say some things like, now that you talk to the loan officer, we start shopping for a home. And then once you go under contract, you need an inspector. Or once you go under contract, then the attorney steps in. And really, attorney inspector could be simultaneous, depending on what state you're in. Because some of us close in escrow. So how bad do you really want this business? I didn't have the money, couldn't call mom anymore. That when I bought my first house, I lived out of Aldi because I had to pay I had to pay rent and I had to pay for my down payment. Like, how bad do you want this? I knew I did not want to have to go back to real work. Doesn't mean that I didn't go back during the downturn of the market and substitute taught, went to McDonald's and worked in commercial. It doesn't mean you might have to pivot for a moment, but I'll tell you, even though I may have had to pivot, in like 2007, 8, and 9, I never stopped working real estate. Even though I had to take care of grandma and I didn't do marketing probably for a year, I came back to it. I jumped back in. You still have to do the business. So if you don't have the money to mail, listen, you don't need Starbucks. You know, I like the cool drinks. I'd like to go to Starbucks. So, you know, I really want pop, but we don't buy pop. So you buy the sparkling water. If if you love coffee, figure out how you can make coffee at home. You know, if you're like, I like the cool cup, go buy the cool cups. And so you can, or, go buy the nice Starbucks mug and then stick with that mug, whatever you got to do this business. And it could mean that you're going to cold call. I hated cold calling. In my office, we used to cold call on Wednesdays, and the managing broker would order pizza. It was painful. I hated it. I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. Cold calling works. One of my agents right now, because we're doing a contest on Secure the Bag, because she wants to win this purse. And she's already gotten like 5 or 6 new listings because she wants the purse bad enough. You got to figure out what motivates you. And for me, I wanted to be available for my kids. I wanted to go to their sporting events, or, in sports, I wanted to take them to the swimming pool. And I knew I just needed to make a certain amount of money. If you're not single with no kids, it's going to be different for you. So make sure you join me next week, where I talk to you about what it's like working with a family, because it will be different for you, unless we can figure out how to get our spouses or a team member to work with us. So I'm Carrie Little. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, invite a friend, and join me in another class where I have free classes, where I have paid classes. I'm a contract trainer for our MLS, so you can always probably find me for free, but join me in the agent journey.